Fear is not your enemy. It is a compass. It shows you exactly where you need to grow. Most people run away from their fears, treating them like monsters lurking in the shadows of their minds. They build walls around their comfort zones, hoping to keep the anxieties of life at bay. But a Stoic understands a profound truth. The path to growth is not found in retreat, but in advance. A Stoic runs toward their fears, not away from them. Today, we learn how to dismantle fear, piece by piece, and build a heart that knows no limits, a spirit forged in the fires of courage. The first secret lies in a powerful Stoic exercise known as premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. This isn't about morbidly dwelling on negativity. It's a strategic maneuver to disarm fear before it can take root. Think of the worst-case scenario connected to your fear. Don't just glance at it, immerse yourself in it. Imagine it with a vivid, unflinching level of detail. What would it feel like if you lost your job? Picture the conversations, the empty desk, the uncertainty of the next steps. What if the speech you have to give is a complete disaster? Visualize the silent room, the awkward stares, the feeling of failure washing over you. Walk through the entire sequence of events in your mind. As you do this, a strange thing happens. The monstrous, vague terror begins to crystallize into a series of manageable problems. You will realize that even if the worst happens, you possess an inner citadel of strength, a resilience you may not have known you had. You have the capacity to survive it, to adapt, to rebuild. You could find a new job, perhaps one that aligns better with your passions. You could learn from the failed speech and become a more compelling speaker in the future. Fear loses its suffocating power when it's no longer a shapeless mystery. By confronting the worst in your imagination, you rob it of its ability to paralyze you in reality. You've already faced the dragon in your mind, and you have emerged, not unscathed, but stronger. The second lesson is a fundamental shift in perspective. Danger is real, but fear is a choice. A charging lion is a real danger. The threat of economic instability is a real danger. These are external events, objects, and circumstances that exist outside of your control. Fear, however, is the story you tell yourself about that danger. It's the internal narrative, the emotional reaction, the judgment you pass on the situation. You cannot control the storm, but you can absolutely control how you pilot your ship. Seneca wisely said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." We take a real, manageable danger and, through the dark alchemy of our minds, inflate it into an all-consuming monster. Stop making the monster bigger in your head. When you feel the familiar pang of anxiety, pause and dissect it. Is this a reaction to a present, tangible threat, or is it a projection of a catastrophic future that has not yet occurred? Separate the external fact from your internal interpretation. The fact is you have a difficult conversation to initiate. The interpretation is that it will end in disaster, ruin your relationship, and cause irreparable harm. Challenge that interpretation. Is it the only possible outcome? Is it even the most likely one? By consciously choosing to focus on the objective reality rather than the terrifying fiction you've created, you reclaim your power. You choose reason over reaction, and in that choice, fear begins to dissolve. Our third secret is the most direct antidote to the paralysis of fear. Action is the cure. Fear thrives in the fertile ground of hesitation and procrastination. The longer you wait, the more you deliberate, the bigger the fear grows in your mind. It feeds on your inactivity, whispering doubts and constructing ever more elaborate scenarios of failure. The space between the decision to act and the action itself is where anxiety builds its nest. The Stoics knew that the only way to destroy that nest is to move. The moment you take a small, tangible step forward, the dynamic shifts. The fear begins to shrink. The action doesn't have to be monumental. If you're afraid of starting a business, don't focus on building a global empire overnight. Just buy the domain name. If you're afraid of public speaking, don't picture yourself on a TED stage. Just practice your first line in front of a mirror. Each small act of courage sends a powerful message to your brain. I am in control. I am capable. Action breaks the spell of overthinking. It pulls you out of the hypothetical future and plants you firmly in the productive present. It replaces the feeling of powerlessness with a sense of agency. The cure for the fear of the dark is not to think about the light, but to take a single step and light a candle. This leads us to the fourth lesson: focus on the present moment. Epictetus taught that we are disturbed not by things, but by the views we take of them. A vast majority of our fears are not about our current reality. We are never afraid of the present moment itself. In this exact moment, as you are listening to these words, are you in immediate danger? No, you are okay. You are breathing. You are safe. Our fear is almost always directed toward a future that doesn't exist yet, a phantom projection of our minds. We torture ourselves with what-ifs and maybes, living in 1,000 potential catastrophes that will likely never come to pass. The Stoic practice is to consciously and repeatedly come back to the now. When your mind starts to race, anchor yourself in the present. Feel the chair beneath you. Listen to the sounds in the room. Notice the sensation of your breath entering and leaving your body. This is mindfulness, but with a Stoic purpose. It's about recognizing that in this exact moment, you are whole and you are capable. The future is uncertain, but the present is real. By grounding yourself in the here and now, you cut off the fuel supply to your anxiety. The past is gone. The future is not yet here. All you have is this single, present moment, and in this moment, you can choose to be at peace. Fifth, when a fear grips you, ask yourself a simple but profound question. What is the worst that can happen, and will this matter in the grand scheme of things? Zoom out. Project yourself into the future. Will this specific worry, this particular fear, matter in 5 years? In 10 years? Will you even remember it? Most of what we fear is temporary and ultimately insignificant in the grand tapestry of our lives. The embarrassing comment you made in a meeting, the awkward first date, the minor financial setback, these feel monumental in the moment, but they are fleeting ripples on the surface of a vast ocean. This perspective, known as the view from above, was a favorite of Marcus Aurelius. He constantly reminded himself of the vastness of time and space to put his own troubles into their proper context. When you realize how small your fear is compared to the arc of your entire life, let alone the history of the universe, it loses its emotional weight. You're not dismissing your feelings as invalid. You are simply recalibrating your perspective. You are choosing not to grant a temporary problem a permanent place in your mind. This frees up your mental and emotional energy to focus on what truly matters: your character, your actions, and the legacy you wish to leave behind. The sixth Stoic secret is to reframe your relationship with fear entirely. Use it as fuel. Every time you feel that familiar tightening in your chest, that quickening of your pulse, recognize it not as a signal to retreat, but as an invitation to practice courage. You cannot be brave without fear. A person who feels no fear isn't courageous. They are either reckless or have nothing at stake. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the judgment that something else is more important than fear. It is the will to act in spite of it. Embrace the shaking hands, the racing heart, and the knot in your stomach. See these physiological responses as the raw energy you need to perform. They are signs that you are pushing your boundaries, that you are alive and engaged with something that matters to you. Welcome the opportunity. Say to yourself, here is fear. This is my chance to be courageous. Every time you face a fear and act anyway, you are forging your character. You are laying down a new neural pathway, strengthening the muscle of bravery. Over time, you build a track record of courage that becomes a source of immense inner strength and self-respect. Finally, we arrive at the seventh and most profound secret: accept your mortality. The ultimate fear, the one that often lurks beneath all our other smaller anxieties, is the fear of death. We are afraid of running out of time, of ceasing to exist, of leaving things undone. But the Stoics saw this not as a source of terror, but as the ultimate motivator. The practice of memento mori remember you must die, is not a grim obsession with death, but a vibrant call to life. If you truly and deeply accept that your time is limited, you stop wasting it on small worries, petty grievances, and paralyzing fears. You realize that every moment is precious. Why would you spend your finite days avoiding risks that could lead to growth and fulfillment? Why would you allow the fear of judgment from others, who are also mortal, to dictate the course of your one and only life? Accepting the finality of death gives you the freedom to live boldly, to love deeply, and to act with purpose. The clock is ticking. Let that fact not be a source of anxiety, but a clarion call to live your philosophy, to pursue your virtues, and to make every single day count. Don't let fear be the ghostwriter of your life story. Don't allow its cautious, timid voice to edit out all the adventure, the growth, and the meaning. Your life is a blank page, and the pen is in your hand. Take the pen and write with courage. Write a story of resilience, a story of purpose, a story of a person who saw fear not as a cage, but as a compass pointing them toward their best self. If you're ready to face your fears, to stop running and start growing, type "I am brave" in the comments below. Let it be your declaration, your first small act of courage. Subscribe for episode 8, where we will explore the Stoic art of turning obstacles into opportunities.